All right. Hi. Welcome back to my ADHD journey. This is episode 3. I just uploaded episode 2 after having it sit in my laptop for like a month. As you can tell, I've definitely grown a little bit of more of my beard since the last time I made a video. We are in another location in the house, using the webcam, using an actual microphone. Hopefully, you guys can hear me pretty well, and it's not making too much noise when I just picked it up and set it back down like a goober. Um, as I go through this stuff, through the stories and the tales of my erratic life, um, if you are someone who is watching this and you feel that I have missed a story, or there is a particular story you know of from my childhood that you'd like my perspective on, or something like that, let me know, and I will try to get that in the next video. Definitely open to any feedback from you guys and gals out there. Um, yeah, with that said, um, go ahead and like and hit notifications and all that fun jazz that you do on YouTube. Um, and let's dive in. So last time we were here, well, not here, we were over there in my bedroom. Um, we got up to 5th grade, um, and I left you with the cliffhanger of, and next time I'll be taking off Ritalin. So that's where we're at. We're at the summer between pardon me. We're at the summer between 5th and 6th grade. Um, and as I said previously, the head pastor of my church that I grew up at talked to my parents about getting me off of medication. Um, I think somehow he could tell that it wasn't helping me as a person. It was helping with my behavior while I was on it. It was sedating me, um, but it wasn't helping me grow as a person and develop as an individual. Um, all of the things that were going on in my life were going on to the medicine and were being absorbed into a brain that was strung out, um, and just pretty much gone. And that light is right in my eye. I'm sorry about that. I'll just take my glasses off. Don't need them for this. So, um, yeah, I'll be right back. My 10-month-old is crying. All right, I'm back. And my hair got messed up. Oops. And I can't tell which direction it needs to go. That's awesome. Yeah, cameras reversing things. Anyways, so through the advice of my pastor, my parents took me off of Ritalin, and things got interesting. I wouldn't really say things got worse, though I guess they kind of did for a little bit, because I had to basically start over. Everything that you learn socially, and emotion-wise as a kid going through elementary school, I didn't really learn any of that because I was medicated up to my eyeballs. And so I had to relearn how to be a people, how to interact with people, how to yeah, be a person. I had to figure out emotions and how to deal with those. The first emotion that I latched onto, because it was the easiest one to latch onto, was anger. Um, Even though I'm well aware anger is a secondary emotion, it's not a primary, it is a response. But it was the emotion that I guess you could say was easiest for me to understand um, and use, I guess. Um, so going into sixth grade, started my sixth grade year at Irvin Junior High, which is no longer a junior high. It's now like a special education center or something like that. I'm not entirely certain, but it's no longer a junior high or middle school, if you want to call it that. Did my first half of sixth grade at Irvin. Um, that didn't go so great because again I was off my meds, man, and spent like a summer, maybe half a summer off my meds, trying to figure out how to control myself, and then went straight to sixth grade, new school, new teachers, new everything, new school bus, new path to school, new people in the neighborhood. Like everything changed sixth grade. So that was a pretty rough recipe. Um, didn't go very well. I didn't do very well that year at Irvin. I honestly don't even remember like what really went on that year as far as school. But I do remember that halfway through the year, my parents took my sister and I out of public school and enrolled us at Blue Ridge Christian School, um, which is not very far from the house I grew up in. Uh, and that was also an experience. Um, I spent quite a few times at the headmaster's office getting paddled. Um, I didn't have much in the way of friends. I did make some friends, one of which is still my friend on Facebook. We reacquainted ourselves a couple years ago. Um, had some fun while I was there. Had a good experience of um, being given a part in a duet with another young man named Todd. That we performed our duet at Tri-City Christian in front of a lot of people, and that was a fun experience for me. Vocals, singing, music has always been something that speaks to me, something that God has blessed me with quite a large amount of vocal talent, and some interesting ways of hearing things. Um, and it was a good experience. I actually ended up, oddly enough, ended up working in my third job that I ever worked. Ended up running into Todd again as adults, which was an interesting experience because another quirk about me is I remember faces, um, and not like some people say they remember faces because they recognize someone um, that they haven't seen in like a year or two as an adult, and they don't look much different. For me, when I remember faces, I recognize a face from like childhood, and to me, their face is not much different. Um, just just recently saw somebody that I haven't seen since I was 20, and she was like 14. And to me, she doesn't look much different. She looks about the same. I can tell she's older, and she's aged just as I have. But to me, there's no real difference in her face, and I find that weird. But anyways, when seeing Todd at the service station that I worked at, I recognized him immediately. Like, he, to me, looked exactly like the kid that I sang the duet with, and remembered him immediately. But that's jumping ahead like 8 to 10 years, and that's not what we're doing here. I'm gonna try to make this video quick today, by the way, because gotta feed the babies, the 10-month-old and the 2-year-old here at noon, and it is 20 till. So anyways, sorry for my scatteredness today. Kind of trying to jump right back into this with no real preparation. It's kind of what I do. So 6th grade at Blue Ridge Christian was kind of cool, kind of not, because they kind of told me that they didn't want me to ever come back. Or, well, at least they told my parents that they didn't want me back because I was quite the problem. Which is interesting coming from, you pay for your kid to go there, but then your money's not good enough. They would have been fine with Heather going there, my sister, but they were not down with this guy continuing to be a problem at their school. So 7th grade, my mother homeschooled my sister and I, which was actually kind of cool. We, like, mom would, I believe she was working at American Family Insurance at the time. That was like not very far away. It was off Colburn Road and Blue Ridge, I believe. To the point where once or twice my sister and I walked there to see our mom. But she would give us our lessons and work with us on stuff, and then she'd go into work, and then she'd come home at like 2:00 and work with it, see what we had accomplished for the day. And she worked really hard on my handwriting. My mother was really big into my handwriting was important because my handwriting was god awful. She would be really proud of my handwriting now if she were still here. And because of her insistence that my handwriting be good, I have now transferred that to my children. I am very insistent to my 11-year-old that he needs to work on his handwriting because sometimes his handwriting is completely indecipherable. He would make a really good doctor, but I am no pharmacist to read it. Anyways, so 7th grade, during homeschooling, we every Thursday we would go to Skateland because they had a thing during the day on Thursdays of local homeschools could get together and have a day at Skateland, skating and whatnot. And that was fun. I really enjoyed that. Discovered that my sister was really good at roller skating, specifically really good at limbo. May or may not have to do with the fact that she was a ballerina and so was incredibly flexible as a kid. Me, I could do the full splits, but not while on roller skates. That is for dang sure. Did not trust them little wheels to not get me killed. So yeah, things were interesting during sixth and seventh grade. Um, I didn't really like I learned a little more how to be a person, but there was a while there where even though I was 13 years old, in a lot of ways mentally and emotionally I was probably 9, um, or younger even, which I found out now is actually a thing with ADHD. Developmentally, people with ADHD are slower, um, like mental age wise, emotional age wise. You can usually subtract 3 or 4 years from their physical age, and you'll get their mental age. Um, which is something I have to remember with my 6 year old because he's 6, but he has ADHD, so he's emotionally and conceptually like a 4 year old. Um, sometimes, not always. Um, anyways, so I made leaps and bounds. I made improvements. Um, a lot of learning went on during that time. Um, then eighth grade, we went back to Irvin. Um, when I was in eighth grade, I went back to Irvin. That year, Heather was Heather's freshman year of high school, so she went to Hickman, and started her high school career, as it were. Um, me, I went to Irvin, and during the course of my eighth grade year, um, I actually got arrested. Uh, made friends with I was friends with some of the cheerleaders, which was an interesting situation because eighth grade guys don't understand that if some one of the guys is friends with the cheerleaders, you should be friends with the guy who's friends with the cheerleaders, because yeah, he can like introduce you and whatnot. Um, but that is conceptually beyond eighth grade male mental capacity. Um, in eighth grade, uh, I'll get to the arrested story in just a second. Um, in eighth grade, there was a bully um, that I cannot for the life of me remember her name, but I remember she was very tall and thin. Like she was a basketball player. Like she was a basketball player for the school, because she was like 6.5 feet tall in eighth grade, and for some reason she used that as a means of bullying people, specifically me, who failed to mention that between fourth and seventh grade, I was stuck at 4'11". I did not start to grow again until eighth grade year, and I was about 5'2", I think, in eighth grade, which meant I was just barely shorter than my mother. My sister was still taller than I was, and I was a short kid, um, and chubby. I was a little roly poly kid. Um, because after I got off Ritalin, the appetite suppression that it had on me went away, and I ate a lot between fifth and sixth grade. I ate a lot. Um, so, anyways, this I want to say her name was Lakeisha. Um, don't know why that name's popping in my head, but so she would push me up against lockers and intimidate me and all this stuff. And one day, um, I don't know where I got it from. I don't know what made me do it, but one day she pushed me into a locker, and I had enough, and I after she pushed me into the locker, I stood back up and I stood tall and I said, I'm not scared of you. I don't know why you're doing this to me, but I am not afraid of you. You can keep trying to bully me all you want, but it's not going to do anything. You're not going to get anything from me. You're not going to win anything. I'm not afraid of you. And oddly enough, that moment of standing up to her made her my friend. Like she gained respect for me and looked out for me for the rest of the school year. Um, and at minimum, didn't bother me anymore. Um, so then there's sorry, dry mouth. Uh, how I got arrested. This will be our final story of the day. I was arrested in 8th grade because I was friends with a kid named Brandon. And at the time in 8th grade, there were these new nifty pens that were clear. They were, I don't even for the life of me remember what they were, but they were the thing. Like, you were a cool person for some reason if you had one of these pens, or you had some of these pens. Like, all the cool kids had these pens, and I really wanted one. So I bartered with my friend Brandon. Pardon me. Bartered with my friend Brandon to purchase his pen, and I purchase it. He hands me the pen. Cap's on the back of it, not on the tip. It's on the back, and so the pen's open. Hands me the pen. Transaction is over, and then he reaches for the pen to take it back from me. And in my instinctual defense, I stabbed him with the pen in the arm. Like, I stabbed him right here, which, fortunately hit the bone right there and didn't do much damage, but it did draw blood, which, boy, that got me sent to the principal's office real fast, and then actually arrested and thrown in a paddy wagon with a couple of girls that had gotten in a fight that day. They were in the back of the van. I was in a separate section of the van and spent my time going downtown in the paddy wagon, working my way out of my handcuffs to see if I could do it. Got to the police station, and which I still, for the life of me, can't think why we went all the way downtown, because Hickman Mills or Irvin Junior High is not really near downtown. I would imagine there's a police station closer than that, but what do I know? I was 13 or 14. But we got there. I got fingerprinted. I tried really hard not to laugh at the guy that was booking me, because he had a ridiculous mustache. Like, vividly sticks out in my mind, this dude's mustache, because you notice my mustache, like, goes down. This guy's mustache was, like, straight out. It was crazy looking, and hilarious. And I had a very difficult time not laughing in his face about his mustache. But somehow I persevered, and I made it through without laughing at the guy in his face. I'm sure he's a good police officer, or if he's retired by now, what have you. I'm sure he was a good police officer, but that mustache was hilarious. So when we got to the police station, my parents were there already, because they both worked out that direction, and yeah, that was not a fun car ride home. I remember we stopped for lunch at the Pizza Hut on Van Brunt and I-70, and I remember it vividly because I did not get to eat lunch. I was in deep trouble. So, though I think after I explained to my parents what happened, they kind of understood. That didn't make it okay that I stabbed a kid. It's never okay. But I think it made sense. The context made it a little different. But yeah, that's how I got arrested for the very first time. I've been arrested twice in my life, and we'll get to the other one way later because I was an adult at the time. I guess I've been arrested four times. Four times I've been arrested 4 times. Not something to be proud of. Just realized it's been 4 times. Anyways, that concludes today's tales from the ADHD life of one Jon-ee Hopkins, Jr. So yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that stuff. Like I said, I will try to get more videos out. I will try to be more concise and coherent with this stuff and have a better plan. But sometimes planning is just not my thing. Actually getting on here and turning on the camera and doing anything is a big step. Because there are so many other things that I have going on that I could be doing. I could be working in the garage right now on some doors for my wife's pantry. But that'll keep for a little bit longer. I'll take some time for this. Gotta parcel out my time to the various things that need it. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed. Hope you didn't hate it. If you did hate it, that's okay. Yeah. Anyways, take care. God bless, and feel free to comment and reach out. Bye bye.